Today is January 20 Today is January 22nd, 2012, and we thank you for taking the time out of your day to spend with the Greater New Hope Church International. Today we are going to be hearing from Pastor Charles E. McDaniels. The message is entitled, Are We a Part of Him? Part 5. The background scriptures will be Old Text, Psalms 89 and 7, New Text, Romans 8 and 31. He'll be coming from the King James Version. Again, we thank you for joining us. Please open your hearts and minds to be fed and filled with the Word of God. Know that the Lord gives strength unto His people, and the Lord blesses His people with peace. Psalms 29 and 11. Take, Behold, I give unto you power to tread on serpents and scorpions, and over all the power of the enemy, and nothing shall by any means hurt you. Luke 10 and 19. Thank you for joining the Greater New Hope International Church.
Would want to say something before, and you'll understand it as we move along. Never lose sight on the fact that Yahweh, the true shepherd, don't ever lose sight of that. God is the true shepherd. You'll understand that in a minute. Again, are we about him? Part 5. I'm very grateful to Sis for reading that. Now I don't have to. Thank you, Jesus. It's Psalm 89 and verse 7. God is greatly to be feared, reverenced, praised, and become your central concern. We've defined that as many times as the Lord will. In the assembly of the saints, the set aside one, and to be had an act of your will, not mine, not my next door neighbor, in reverence of all them. If you are about him, all them that are about him. You got to understand that. Now, if you're about him, then you will be moved as the Spirit moves. I would ask most of you right now, what is one of the Psalms just about everybody in here can quote or something from? Did I tell y'all which one? Well, you might learn to appreciate that a little more after you begin to understand where God, it's just about everybody. Even folks don't know the Lord, they quote one of them verses, But I often ask and meditate on that, and why? But today, I'm not saying he told me, but he gave me a little insight into it. Y'all pray that my little finite mind can convey it. Again, I do want to ask of us to give us all of just a minute of silent prayer for the Joe Pops family. I mean, I've watched films. I've learned things from the man. May not have met him, but I do respect him as a coach. And some of the things he built in my life to carry me from the standpoint of my game where I needed to be. And I do want to ask God to be with those children, whoever's involved, that you would minister to them. And if y'all listen to any news, y'all know what I'm talking about. And I would be remiss if I don't obey God right now. I want to thank all those that have been viewing from many countries. I'm so in tune today. I'm scared I might forget some of them. So all y'all who have listened and dropped a note or said something, thank you. Because I don't understand it myself, but I thank God for it. Now let's go on. Romans 8:31. What shall we then say to these things? Wait a minute. You heard what the words, what you gonna say? In other words, what you don't say question. something that you and I and everyone, whether they know God or not, got to come to the realization of this next part of it. And since we're about him, we don't have no problem believing this and receiving this. If God, Elohim, be for us, who can be against us? Question. Oh, you need to get that internalized, beloved, because a lot of times we get scared of so many things that God already got it covered. And all you got to do is do like she said. He made it plain in that. He said, I saw Satan fall as lightning. Okay? Fall as lightning from heaven. I know that freaks out a lot of Bible thumpers, but he up there, just read Revelation 12. And God is going to kick him out pretty soon. But what we fail to realize is when we are about him, there's certain things God has promised you that you can do. Have you read it? Wait a minute. I'm going to ask you now. I'm going to give it to you today in case you haven't read it. Mark 16. Let's go. I know some. I don't have to worry about my preachers. I know they know about that. And a lot of folks, you can run in there and get to popping off about it, but do you understand what it means? Which means that if you understand, if God be for us, who can be against us? And if you are about him. If you are about him. Now look what it, and these signs shall follow them that believe are about him. There's no doubt that these things going to follow. In other words, they're at your beck and call. Now, don't think you tripping or nothing, but yet sometimes you have to call on the Holy Ruach. Have you ever called on him one day when you're needing him? Instead of popping energy drinks, why don't you call on the Lord? Y'all better hear me this morning, not me. He said, the Spirit will quicken your mortal body. In my name, not McDaniel, not any other preacher, no minister, nowhere. It says, in my name shall they cast out devils. So if you think the devil in your house, cast him out. When I tell you in the name of Jesus, anoint the doorposts of your house and order anything that's not of God out, that ain't nothing to play. You're being obedient. He said, better than sick among you, anoint them with the oil of our people. El of Yah, that has the sacred name. Tell anything, don't come in there with your mess, piggyback or nothing. But you got to do it again. You don't hear what I'm saying. Don't be like them sons of Sceva. Talking about in Paul's name or something. No. They got whooped naked. How about you? They shall speak with new tongues. Now, I know folks that took that verse and beat you over the head with it. We can't speak in no tongue unless we're born that way, or God will supernaturally give you the cloven tongue. This stuff about tie my bow tie, that's not a new tongue. Nobody can understand it but God. God knows all language. But now, the new tongue is when you are anointed. What did they say? Came like a mighty rushing wind and some cloven tongues, meaning the etymology of it, that new tongue is a tongue that you speak, you didn't learn, but yet everybody that you speak to will hear it in their own dialecto. We understand some things about it. We know physically we can see somebody's body language. Folks, take courses on it. That ain't going to help you. You want that anointing because God said, what did he say? Baby, I will give you an unction from the Holy One, and you shall know all things. That etymology of the unction, I will come in, my Holy Ruach, and my son will sit down and sup with you. You've got that kind of relationship with God. They shall take up serpents. Now, don't run around it like some folk grabbing no serpent. He hadn't read this. But what it means, folks can throw anything at you. The serpent That's why he said, take your shield of faith that you ward off what? The fiery darts of Satan. I don't care what they said. It can't hurt you. I know I've been called a pimp. I know I got to be hustling. I'm messing up this and I'm doing that. Don't have to let them see you sweat. I don't have to respond to that because anybody know me know who I am. And I don't care what they believe. They want to get up to juicy guys, so go ahead. I know who really knows me. My shepherd in heaven. He knows. So I ain't got to worry about what nobody, because he said, my ways please him. You make even my enemies at peace. Are you all about him? That's what he'll do if you let him. Lord have mercy. And if they drink any deadly thing, it shall not hurt them. You need to mentally and physically internalize that. Satan puts out spiritual poison. You got to understand the etymology of that means there's a sea of people who spew out lies. You see what I mean? Misinformation. And we know who they are. They're the Kenite sons of Cain. But now, no matter what they try to do, even if they try to physically poison you, it ain't going to hurt you. If you're about here, I know y'all looking at me strange, but I ain't telling you what nobody told. I had the experience. Didn't like it. That was a witch cult that was after me. That's funny. Y'all looking at me like, y'all, it's evil folks out there if y'all don't know it. When I worked at a certain place, they came, about 5 or 6 of them came in my office one time. Because I always took my water jug with me. And sometimes we get a little careless because I was a little young then in a minute. They all came in looking at me. Hey, what y'all in here for? Said, we put something in your water. How come you ain't dead? I said, you can't kill me. I know y'all think, Pastor, no, I'm telling you the truth. Did I have some sight? Yeah, but it didn't kill me. I'm trying to get y'all to understand. It's folks out there that mean you harm if you don't know it. And some of them might be your so-called best friend. I don't know who I'm talking for. Now, we talking about healing. You don't know I'm going to come up, but they shall lay hands on the sick, and they shall recover. Now, let's get this plain. None of us are no healers. You know, in other words, when you lay your hands on them, you're really not laying your hand. Why do we know that? What did the Bible say? Put on Christ. Didn't it say that? And when you get ready to jump in there on some healing, you better put him on and slide your hands in like you put on some gloves when you fighting some whatever. And when you get that unction to lay hands on somebody, that's when you do it. Why can you stand there boldly and do exactly what the Spirit says because you're about him? That's no problem. Because a lot of times you hear folks talking about what they're going to do, and baby, I swear, oh Lord, I swear I'm going to do. Hey, there's a good book on this. See, when you hear folks talking about what they're going to swear, your spiritual meter ought to start running. Okay? If you're about him, when somebody's talking about what they swear they're going to do, you got this verse ought to start popping up in your head. Matthew 5, 34, 35, 36, and 37. I'm going to read them very hurriedly. I'm going to look it down the table. We're going somewhere. Just hold on. We'll get there. But I say unto you, swear not at all. Now, did I say that? Or can you read? We ain't talking about cursing, y'all. We talking about swearing about what you're going to do. Or you might want to equate it with an oath. I say, swear not, neither, listen now, by heaven, for it is God's throne, if you're about him. Haven't you heard somebody, oh, swear to God? Y'all, excuse me now, I know better. Y'all heard that before? Knowing they lying, but they swearing by God. That's God's throne. You do it too. I might have done it too. So don't look at me like y'all don't know what I'm talking about. Hmm? Now look here. You got all these folks hugging the earth and the planets and talking about this. He said, neither by the earth, for it is his footstool. If you're about him, you begin to process that. Yes, Hebraism, but it's real. The earth is the Lord. A lot of times Christians confuse world with the earth. Earth is Eretz. The world is the cosmos. Distinctly two different things. They don't own nothing. Neither by Jerusalem. Why? For it is the city of the great king. Who's the king of kings and lord of lords? So I know folks go off and they, Lord has already told. That's why we do it. Pray for the peace of Jerusalem. Okay? Some folks go over there, and I ain't going to get into that because they get a certain syndrome, the world says, and they come back all bent out of shape. And that ain't what God. Neither shall thou swear by thy head. Uh-oh. If you're about him, you don't do that. I know what I can do in the natural, but I ain't going to swear I'm going to do it because I don't have no power to do it. I can pop off all I want to. But if God says no, who's going to override him? Okay. I want us to understand, when we know we're about him, we're not bound to certain things of the world. When we are so moved by the Spirit of God, lead, guiding, and direct us, then we can do these things. We're not going to swear about what we're going to do because thou canst not make one hair white or black. In other words, you know how we like to change our colors now, but it never lasts, so do it. I told you I earned every one of these, and I ain't colored, and I ain't used no grease, and I ain't used nothing. Nothing. I'm not telling you what to do, but some of you spread that white hair and tried to get it under control. It's never going to work. Because that's what the book said. Now, y'all might think that's Brother Trump, but it's the truth. God letting you know, I'm in total charge. I don't care what the world says, this will work. It's only temporary. How do we know? Even Moses said it was gone for a season. But when the real deal comes down, I'd rather suffer with the Lord's people than to endure the world just for a season. And some of us don't. It is season. Yeah, you get hung up out there. But this is what we do as ones who are about him. But let, act of your will, your communication be yea, yea, and nay, nay. For whatsoever is more than these cometh from him. The etymology just say it's either yes or no. When a sinner entice you, Proverbs 1, about 7 verse, say no. When a young lady, some man, young girl, man, or whoever approach you in a manner, you say no. You don't have to cuss him out like the world says. Who you think, all them little things they tell you to do. It's hard to get by a no from a child of God who is about his Father in heaven. But when you try to orchestrate it, it's not going to work. Here's what it says. I want to focus in on, but let your communications be yea, yea, and nay, nay. If you're about him, then you will understand truly what the 23rd Psalm means. Yes, it can be read at funerals. Yes, it can encourage you, but it's more than that. Okay? If you're about him, I want you to impregnate that in your mind. I'm about him. And my communication is about him. So when I know that, I'm going to let my communication be yeah, yeah. Why? The Lord is my shepherd. Are you hearing it now? I said, the Lord is my shepherd. Personally, I shall not want. So I don't have to lie, cheat, still, raise my dress, act stupid, act crazy out there, play hard, drop my britches and show my draw. I don't have to do any of that. If I want to do it, then have a nice trip. But there's always a price for that. Well, when I say the Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. Now notice if you're about him, you know it's not a her, is it? Huh? Is that simple enough for y'all? Then if you're about him, look what you do. He maketh me to lie down in green pasture. He leadeth me beside the still water. He give me the very thing that the world is popping pills, taking chances, rolling the dice, just so they don't feel depressed. When God says, I have R&R for you. Now, I know y'all done jumped into rest and relaxation. No, it's rest and reverence. Y'all didn't hear what the Lord said, did you? See, a lot of times we won't take time to rest and reverence him. We want to rest and reverence our vacation. Nothing wrong with that. But when you have a stillness, you can hear that still small voice that saith quietly, this is the way. Walk in it. Why do you think the world keeps you in a turmoil of being here and going there? Got to do this, that. Because then you're not in a still place. Jehoshaphat had to be told, boy, just be still and see the salvation of the Lord. Even when you do that, then you become that light, you become that salt that will confirm what's in, if you're trying with me, to Ezekiel 34. I'm going to look at 14 and 15, maybe 16. Let's see what the Lord said here. It says there, I will feed them where? I will feed them in a good pasture. Now that is a Hebraism. I'm a pastor because I am the keeper of the pasture. That's a distinct difference. But the pasture belongs to the Lord. And he said it's supposed to be what? A good pasture. There's not a place where you're supposed to get ripped off, made to feel bad. No. He says, I will feed them in a good pasture. What am I supposed to feed you? Not what I think. If I'm about him, the only thing I'm going to tell you is what thus saith the Lord. This will be a good study for some of them. This is after God had to scatter his people because they had hard heads. Yeah. And upon the high mountains of Israel